So I'm here again. This time I'm going to try and attempt to show you how to grow trichocereus seeds with the takeaway tech. So it's the same mix. That's what I use for trichocereus anyway. So it's just 50-50 sand and pot mix, just like I showed you in the other video. So, and just regular takeaway containers. So these ones are just a regular, like the Chinese food containers. I try and get the ones a bit taller than these, but this is all they had, so these will do the job. Okay, well, what I do is I put a little bit of the mix in the bottom like this. Okay, now the trick is we want to flatten that out without really squashing it down too much. So again, I get my paintbrush and I just flatten it out like that. Just close enough. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's it. Again, so it's not packed down, it's just flattened out. Okay, now I don't like to grow just on that because it's very easy to get algae growing. Trichos need a fair bit of nutrient. They're fairly hungry. So another cactus you would put more sand in so it didn't grow as much green stuff. But I also use, this is called zeolite. Now I'll show you what this stuff is. So you can get this at Bunnings. They call it Zeo Claw there. It's like fine grit. So I'll just see if I can make that zoom in there. There you go. So it works a bit like activated charcoal or carbon. So it absorbs chemicals and kind of semi-locks them in. It's pretty good for a lot of macronutrients for the plants. So what I do is I add about 10 millimeters thick on top of this. Again, we'll just, there's no hard and fast rules for any of this. So flatten it out a little bit. There we go. That doesn't look very far on camera, but it's reasonably good enough. Alright, now I spray it down. So just with a spray bottle, I just sprayed it a little bit. Just like that. That's just so it's a bit damp. You kind of want the whole mix damp but not wet. So then we just get our cactus seeds. Yeah, some cactus seeds in there. Hold it opening the baggie one-handed isn't so easily. So I should have thought of this first and opened that bag. Alright, so I've got it. Alright, I like to not tip them into the chair, I tip them into my hand. Now the reason for that is that if, I'll just put you down for a second. Alright, tipped into my hand. The reason for that is because it's a lot easier to control sprinkling them from your hand than it is from the bag. So then I just try and sprinkle them evenly, as evenly as I can get, that was a big clump, but again, we'll deal with that later on. Spray them a little bit more, just so that they don't sort of move around and they sort of get a little bit wet, can start germinating. Alright, you don't want the water pooling, you want it just enough that it'll just sort of pat things down. Okay, then I just put the lid on. That's it, make sure it's clipped all the way around. I write on there with a Sharpie what it is and leave it, and it'll basically germinate in sometimes a couple of days, sometimes a couple of weeks, sometimes you'll have to open it and re-wet it. but most of the time, just leave it closed until they're little baby cactuses and you want to deal with them.